But it all really comes down to students discovering Jesus and experiencing him more fully and having Jesus seen in them. So I just want to close by giving two quick snapshots of two different students. The first one is Vita, who I met actually through a girl I discipled while she was doing a co-op program based out of Guelph. And one of the girls in Megan's group is Vita. And Vita grew up in a Christian home, but unfortunately the church that the community she was a part with was focused very much on the externals and very little on the internals. And she really had no experience of seeing lives transformed by Jesus. Jesus was just kind of seemed to be an add-on. And so when she got to university, she met a Christian friend who encouraged her to check out Power to Change as one of the Christian communities on campus. And she was hesitant because she thought it was kind of boring. But then she went to her first weekly meeting, she met some Christians, she came to our fall summit, and she was just blown away of seeing people her own age who were worshiping Jesus. And she went back to campus, got involved in a Bible study, began to grow in her faith and understand what it really means to be led by Jesus, to be transformed by Jesus. And as a huge step of faith, after her second year, she applied to go on a summer missions trip. And I can't even tell you the area where it was for security reasons. But she felt God was leading her to take that step. And I had the privilege of, that's when I met her, and had the privilege of coaching her and mentoring her as she was preparing for that trip. She went, she saw one person come to Christ as she was working there, and a few others in the context of her team. And she went back to university and she started reaching out to people from that background at Waterloo. And just God kept deepening that desire to be involved in missions, not only where she was, but also in the world. So she went back last summer as part of a team it was an exploratory team that was helping our national ministry there discern whether it was the right time to move to a new area in that country. So she was part of that team, and I met her again at the dinner this weekend, and I just looked at her and she was just beaming from ear to ear. I said, Vita, what's up? And she says, I just applied. I want to go back to that country for the next 2 years. And so she's going to be doing a stint internship with us in that country. And that's the kind of transformation effect of being involved in a community of people who love Jesus and want to see him known. A second one is it's an email that one of our newest staff members, one of our team, who works primarily in apologetics, along with his sort of side thing of finishing his PhD. And he posted this email that he had received on our internal communications posting. And he said, this is Wes, and he said, I receive a lot of emails from students asking questions and recommendations on resources. However, once in a while, I get an email like this from a student who came to my talk at Queen's, which I believe happened beginning of March, mid-March. Wesley, I've made this email address just for this email because I wish not to be known or recontacted. I came to your talk at Sterling Hall the other Friday night on the historical case for the resurrection. I didn't know anyone. I came and sat in the back, and I left right afterwards. I'm a skeptic by nature, never bought into anything religious, and always wrote it up to ignorance and emotional crutches. I have to tell you, your talk bothered me. It bothered me a lot. It bothered me because everything I believed about Christians was challenged. You weren't uninformed, and that bothered me. Your beliefs didn't seem, at least not from what I saw, to be an emotional crutch, and that bothered me. You quoted accredited scholars in your presentation. I looked some of them up when I went home, and most you cited weren't even Christians, and that bothered me. You didn't use scare tactics, emotional ploys, or manipulation to make your points. And that bothered me. But what bothered me most of all was not even that what you said made sense. I could have walked out of there believing Jesus rose from the dead and truly not even cared if it was true or not. You see, I have been an atheist my whole life. My parents are atheists. My friends are atheists. Most of my coworkers are atheists. And actually, side point, we just heard the other night that 1 out of every 3 students coming into university now self-identifies as an atheist or no belief whatsoever. That is today's generation. And this guy seems to be pretty typical. I had never once thought about what the ramifications of what it meant to be an atheist were. At the end of your talk, you said that if Jesus rose from the dead, it wasn't simply factually true, that it was powerfully and supernaturally, existentially significant. That bothered me a lot. I'm not entirely sure I'm an atheist anymore, and I think it's your fault. And then he signed it, a very bothered, potentially now Christian theist. So pray for students like Vita. Pray for students like this unnamed individual and every student in between. And pray that as a campus ministry, along with other campus ministries, because we're not the only one, that together we'd live for Jesus, that we would personally be transformed by him, and that we would help reach this new generation of students. Thank you.